very expensive, especially like I have seen a lot of stores shut down after COVID hit because they had reduced foot traffic. So I think that was a really good decision made on in early stages of the process. So amazing. That was amazing. Hey everyone, welcome back to another session of Seller Speak. And I have one of the biggest, I think, entrepreneurs in terms of scaling their D2C brand worldwide. It is Dr. Vaidya, and I have a very special speaker with us today. Her name is Trisha Vaidya, and she's going to be explaining how her journey went from an entrepreneur in India to, let's say, a global legend, because this brand has scaled a lot. And I think they were way ahead of its time when it came to scaling their D2C brand worldwide. So in this session, you're going to understand how you can scale your business and like how you can make sure that you are efficient in doing so. We're also going to talk about product mode and a lot of things. So without further ado, help me welcome Trisha Vaidya. Hi, Trisha.
Hi, Ria. Thank you so much. A very kind introduction.
I don't think I'm doing justice to, the brand that you have built online. And kudos to Arjun as well. He's not with us here today, but he will be a part of the event, which is coming soon. So keep an eye out for that. And Trisha, Dr. Vaidya, I have seen it since I was a child, and that has been around for centuries, if I'm not wrong. So do you want to introduce yourself and Dr. Vaidya?
Sure. So firstly, thank you for having me here. Super excited for this session. So Dr. Vaidya has actually been in Arjun's family for about 150 years. His grandfather, great-grandfather, all Ayurvedic doctors. His grandfather, Dr. Nathubai Vaidya, was, I think, one of the most famous Ayurvedic practitioners in India. He would see about 300 to 400 patients a day. And because of the scale of it, he actually set up a manufacturing facility of his own to cater to the demand. In regard for him and to remember him is where we actually came up with the name when we were thinking of what do we name this business, and named it Dr. Vaidya's. So Arjun and I started the journey. Arjun actually started it earlier in about 2016. Something I think in him always wanted to, give back to his grandfather's legacy. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2014, but something was always calling Arjun back to, do something with 100 plus formulations that has been in his family legacy. Coincidentally, my own parents were cured because of asthma through Arjun's granddad. We found this out much later. So he saw a lot of value, and he, as a child, also he had gone to, the clinic all the time, met a bunch of patients, helped his grandfather transcribe everything to digital, also got cured of asthma as well. So Ayurveda was in his family, right? He knew that this is something that he had to focus on. We both studied internationally, and when Arjun was in the US, actually, at that time, it's when yoga was booming, right? You had brands like Lululemon who had put yoga back on the map. And though that was great, he always felt that why is it that an Indian isn't doing this? Why has the West popularized and globalized a phenomena like yoga? And so he was very clear that that's not something he wanted to happen to Ayurveda. He was like, it should be us Indians who globalize Ayurveda. So, we'll talk about the journey through this session, of course, but it was an amazing journey. We built it from about 5 orders a day to about 5,000 orders a day. We're lucky to get an exit in March of this year. Amazing journey. Thank you. Amazing journey. Lots of mistakes, lots of things we did right. But yeah, loved every second of it.
Amazing. And if you go to their website, it says that they have they have more than 1 million customers worldwide. And I think you expanded to Europe first, and then you do have a lot of European clients. So I think it's amazing for a brand. Go ahead.
So in Europe, we actually used to sell a little more white labeled. Our plan was to launch Dr. Vaidya's as well. But in Europe, we did have a few contract manufacturing opportunities. Yes, so we had white labeled certain products.
Amazing. I'm so excited for the session to begin, and there's so much to learn. And I'm sure that the viewers who are watching right now are equally interested in understanding what goes inside Dr. Vaidya's and how did they scale the brand. So to begin with, I understand the product research part. So as you said, the products were formulated, the recipe of the product was formulated years ago. And then how did you make sure that the products are adaptive to the modern culture? And like, how did you go about the product research when you were entering the market?
Sure. So when we decided to launch, we obviously had 100 plus formulas, but
yeah,
we didn't want to launch all at once, right? So we picked two products that we could relate to the most, which we thought was a product differentiation in the market, right? And would actually stand out. The whole concept was that our grandparents, our parents maybe even know about Ayurveda. They know about Ayurvedic ingredients. They know the benefits about it. And our generation sadly doesn't have enough information or knowledge about it. But at the same time, our generation was moving towards let's consume clean food. Let's know what's being produced. Let's move towards organic food, right? So people started being a lot more aware of what they put in their body. So this was an opportunity as well. So we launched Live It Up, which was a hangover pill. Now, interestingly, this product was been there in the family for a while as a liver, something to help with fatty liver or liver diseases like liver cirrhosis. And in his grandfather's journals, it was already also mentioned how it also helps with hangovers. So for the first 6 to 8 months, we actually tested it a lot, right? Tested on ourselves, tested on our friends, family, got feedback to make sure that, okay, this is an effective product. What is, and that's when we launched Live It Up, right? Very cool, sexy looking packaging, very unlike Ayurveda, when you think of white and green, to be honest. So we launched that. And the other product which we launched was an existing product, but we kind of gave it an uplift in rebranding, was HerboFit, which was Chyawanprash in a capsule form. Taking the bitter, sticky, unpleasant taste of Chyawanprash away, removing the sugar element as well, and making it a more easier, accessible and convenient form to actually consume, right? Chyawanprash is actually really good for all of us. We should be having it daily. Why do we have the international multivitamins and centrums of the world when we can have our own homegrown Chyawanprash? So yeah, that was the first two products we launched. And then obviously we kept studying the market, understanding what is the gaps, what are the problems most Indians face. So diabetes is a huge issue. Arthritis is another one. Also, though we weren't e-commerce, I would say, before Arjun and I started, Arjun's grandfather used to get, posters, like postal letters, ordering medicine. So he had with India Post, he had a very full-fledged system, which was their version of e-commerce at that time. So we had a little bit of data, luckily, to tell us for product demand. So basis all of that, basis a lot of customer research, understanding. I mean, for example, I wish at that time I had a tool like SellerApp, right? To be able to tell me what are the products that are high in demand, where are the gaps in the market, what are the current trends. I wish I had that, right? That would have made my life probably so much easier. So we launched about 40 other products, post that. One of our top products that we launched was Herbo Build. And that honestly came from our customers' insights, right? Customers kept asking that, we want a substitute or something equivalent maybe to a muscle protein, but we don't have the supplement. So we said, okay, muscle building is a huge issue. People had certain, apprehension about whey protein, etc., having long-term kidney damage, all of that. So we realized that there is a huge opportunity here. And so we, hearing customers' feedback, obviously with our doctors, with our R&D team, developed a product called Herbo Build, which ended up being, it's still a bestseller on Amazon, for example. So a lot of customer feedback, to be honest, is also what helped us keep launching new products.
Amazing. I think the two things that caught my attention was how you've named your products that catches youth attention. It's not your, like I have seen a lot of Ayurveda products who are so hard to understand. Their name does not tell you what the product is. And I think you've done a great job describing and labeling your product. And the second best thing that I think you did right was consumer insights, because you really need to understand consumer and demand in order to produce something that they will buy. And I mean, kudos on that. I think that's amazingly done. So moving on from, your demands and supply part of it, what products you're selling. So how, when you invest or when you're looking for investors, you would really want to make sure that your product moat is on point, because Warren Buffett describes it: if you do not have a product moat, or if you do have a product moat, that's what investors look for when they're planning to invest in your business. So for our viewers right now, can you tell me how you can set up your product moat, or how do you describe your product moat?
So honestly, it's not even about the investors. I'll be honest, right? Your product moat should be there regardless for you to stand out and for you to differentiate yourself in this space.
Definitely.
Right? Product moat could be in various forms. So for us, our product moat was our convenience factor, right? The fact that we had Chyawanprash in the form of a capsule. We eventually had Chyawanprash in the form of toffees for children as well. How do you make it convenient and easy to use? Our accessibility was our other product moat. Taking from Arjun's grandfather's legacy, we never charged for consultation. So you could be sitting in Jammu Kashmir or in the Northeast or in Bombay, and we would give you a free doctor consultation regardless if you bought our medicine or not, right? So we took the old principles that his grandfather followed and adapted them, of course, a little bit to the new age vibe. But that's what we did. We made it convenient for consumers to actually learn about Ayurveda, purchase from us. Our product differentiation was convenience again. So that was our product moat. Some other brands have product moat in terms of their branding as well, right? Like, how do they clearly explain to a consumer what they stand for? So I think a product moat is literally like a differentiation that you can keep, right? You don't want, right now in the whole D2C world which we live in, you don't want to be a Me Too brand. You want to stand out for something, right? You want to be able to have that differentiation. What is a moat? It's that water body surrounding you, right? So how do you actually create that for it become difficult for people to penetrate? Not saying that you'll be the only player. We're in a country like India where it's okay to have multiple players. There's more than enough pie to have multiple players in a category, right? But what is that thing that makes you stand out or differentiates you? And you have to be very honest with yourself. It just shouldn't sound good, like being clean, herbal, natural. No, that according to me is not necessarily a moat, right?
Yeah.
Convenience factor, form, ingredient quality, all of these science backed, all of these according to me are potential product moats, which is very important, but an entrepreneur needs to be honest to themselves.
No, definitely. And we generally saw, like, after the whole COVID pandemic thing happened, supplements are a huge category now on Amazon or any other retail platforms if you talk about it. So, when you have such a saturated niche, standing out is very difficult. And I think that's when your product moat comes into play. And you have to make sure that especially your supplements are scientifically backed as well, because now even Amazon has made it very mandatory for all the products to have certificates, mandatory certifications for, and you should. Obviously, like, if your packaging has to be honest. And I think Dr. Vaidya has done a great job again when it comes to proving scientifically, especially something like Ayurveda. So I've seen a lot of youngsters not believing in Ayurveda and saying that, it's not scientifically backed, but it is. Like, read the packaging. It is.
So I'll tell you honestly, right? It's also because it takes time. Yeah, the younger generation, everyone wants instant results and instant gratification. That's not really how Ayurveda works, right? So I think that also takes time. And obviously, given the fact that we had 150 years of family legacy research go into formulations, that was, I think, also one of our largest moats.
Yeah. So it comes with years and years of proven expertise, I would say.
Exactly.
So great. Amazing. And when it comes to efficiency, because you have, again, more than 1 million customers worldwide. So how do you prove efficiency in your workplace, and how do you go about that?
Honestly, we made a lot of mistakes here. Not going to lie about that. I think at times what happens, and it honestly happened to us as well, is you kind of see only the top line at times, right? Revenue, growth. What is a startup, right? It's in a way exponential growth. But with that growth, at times you get blinded by things like operation efficiency, marketing efficiency, etc. So we honestly did mess up a little in terms of operations. We learned the hard way, is what I'm going to say. It's the truth that we learned the hard way. But I think being true setting up processes, setting up SOPs. And when you set it up, not only for setting up 50, 100, 500 orders a day, but being able to tweak it, because when you hit scale, there are different challenges that come.
Yeah.
I think that is another huge area. So you have to be operational efficient, human resources efficient, accounting wise, financially efficient, as well as marketing, right? Each of them actually play a critical role. So say for example, right, like I was seeing let's give an example of marketing. I was seeing the tool, SellerApp tool recently, and I kind of wish I always had. I mean, I met Dilip 1 year ago, to be honest, and could use that tool, because I was just seeing that at the end of the day on Amazon, I also have a certain budget, right? I may think that manually this is a budget that I find per campaign, but am I being the most efficient? I'm not sure. Why can't I rely on tools, right? So when I saw SellerApp's tool, and it showed me certain ways in which you can actually become more efficient in your terms of marketing, in terms of where should your budget be focused on, where can you reduce budgets on a keyword level, on a campaign level, right? So you let the technology and tools make you more efficient, and then you add a layer of human element if you want, right, to discuss that further. But I think that efficiency across every department of a startup is equally important.
Definitely. And I think when a business is scaling, they want to rely more on automation processes, because of course you have to look for automation tools. So I remember in one meeting, like advertising automation is something that brands are looking for right now, and SellerApp just provides you with that. And we also have rules in automation. So if you're looking to just scale your profits, or if you're looking for other rules, we let you do that, on our tool. It's really cool. So coming back to Dr. Vaidya's and scaling your operations. So how did you scale your brand in such a niche category? Because of course, especially in Amazon, supplements has become a huge thing in the last year. So how did you scale your D2C brand in Amazon or other online market retail places? Yeah.
Sure. So honestly, it took time. I think now when I look back, when we were actually building it out, D2C was still a new word. People's acceptance of buying online was relatively new. Now when I look around it, my own parents, for example, will buy on Amazon very easily, right? That wasn't the case there. My mother-in-law uses GPay all the time, plays a bread wala by GPay. So times change. I think COVID actually pushed everyone to become a lot more independent, right? So I think that it was tough in the beginning when we started. How did we scale? We chose it the other way around. We scaled honestly on our own website first, and that had a great impact on an Amazon and a Flipkart, and therefore we then built on Amazon and Flipkart a lot later. But our focus was our own website first. We made sure that our offerings were very clear to the customer. We tapped into places where we saw that there was a high demand for Ayurveda and people wanted it. I think the likes of Patanjali actually put Ayurveda back in the map, right? So people actually started learning more about it, curious about it. The government also set up a Ministry of Ayush. So Ayurveda became more and more acceptable, right? And then I think when COVID hit, it became the most accepted thing in a way, right? Yeah. So it was easier for us, if I'm honest, because of that. But it took us a lot of time and effort. We realized who our customer was a little, like when we hit about 50 orders a day on our website, we realized that, okay, fine, we've understood some things, right? A lot of customer insights, a lot of data crunching made us realize that, it's actually outside the metro cities where there's this high demand and less accessibility. So let's reach out to them. So, things like vernacular ads, local language ads, tapping into local influencers, not only your top end influencers, say in Bombay City or Delhi, but actually tapping into local influencers as well, who people know, trust, and Ayurveda lovers as well. Being approachable. So we, as I mentioned earlier also, right, we were giving anyone a consult who wanted a consult. So being approachable was definitely important. We used Facebook, Google, TikTok as our main marketing channels. And then of course, Amazon's, we used AMS for advertising and, building on that, because Amazon as itself is a great marketing channel, right? People come on the intent to buy it. So if you can actually crack that better in terms of understanding what people are searching for, what are they giving, and are you able to deliver that to them, right? That would be fantastic. And that's where you see tremendous growth.
Amazing. And I really want to understand how your journey was from offline to online. Were you always offline, or and when did you try, switch to online? Because I remember having this conversation before. I really want to understand that now.
Honestly, offline was Arjun started offline in 2016. I hadn't even joined the company, to be honest. I joined in 2017. And he went out, set up, did like an event, launch event, hired a sales team of 20, 22 people. We're like, wow, okay, I'm going to be in so many thousands of stores, yada yada. And very soon realized that that was the biggest mistake, right? Having 22 sales team who just, if trackability was an issue, you're trying to sell a brand that's not even a brand as yet, right? Because people didn't know about it. Just, you think that you're selling because people are keeping their product on the shelf, but till a third customer actually comes and buys it, it's not sale. And it takes a lot of time, effort, and money, and there's no return of sale as such, right? Related to the amount of money you spend. And it's a lot more patient game. So very soon he actually realized that, what, I made a mistake. I'm pulling the plug on offline. I rather do online where I have full control of the amount of money I spend, who the customer is, how I can grow in a little bit more strategic manner. And once I've reached a little bit of scale, revenue, all of that, then we can explore offline. So honestly, we learned the mistake of offline quite early on, and we realized online was a better bet for us to go.
Definitely. And I think offline is very expensive, especially like I have seen a lot of stores shut down after COVID hit because they had reduced foot traffic. So I think that was a really good decision made on in early stages of the process. So amazing. That was amazing. And moving on, when a brand is scaling, what major problems or mistakes that you've seen sellers make in terms of ordering excess inventory? I've seen a lot of sellers do that. So how do you manage inventory in terms of scaling a brand?
Toughest part, we were lucky that we manufactured our own goods. So we had month on month, we would look at the last 3 months, trend it out, and kind of assume that a certain growth level would be hit. We had a business plan that we kind of followed quite to the T. There were times, for example, that factory had to completely change production plan, all of that. The moment you raise a certain amount of capital, you also have that working capital safety net, is what I want to say. So you can keep storage of certain raw materials, etc. above hand. I think you need to have a business plan, right? I think you need to have
Definitely.
a business plan, yearly business plan. I'm not telling you go and make a 5-year business plan, right? I'm just saying that at least make a yearly business plan and break it up into monthly, right? So a potential target that you're trying to hit, and you keep a 10-15% buffer. Yes, there are times where a product you think may sell well doesn't sell well. Okay, how can I use it in terms of marketing? Can I give that to influencers? Can I do that as a special offer and say buy above 600, get this free product, so at least people try that product, right? What can you do with it? Because excess inventory is a big problem, but don't order, get the proof of concept, understand which product works well first for you, and then gradually scale up and grow. And if you contract manufacture, you need to have really good relationships. Of course, you need to understand timelines over there as well, and you need to have a good robust system to see that, okay, fine, this is the point. If I hit under this amount, I need to place an order because it takes me so much time.
Yeah, inventory
But having that-
forecasting is very important.
Yeah, because the worst thing is if a product is doing well and it's gaining momentum on digital and you just shut it down because you don't have inventory.
Yeah. That's a very bad situation to be in, especially if you're selling on Amazon and you are out of inventory. You can lose your BSR rank because Amazon just stops pushing order and stops showing your listing when there is no inventory. So you could lose the organic ranking that you've gained by far. So yes, make sure. I think excess inventory is. Yeah, we do have an inventory tracker, and we also have listing hijackers if you are interested in our services, and do check out our free tools to get you just started on SellerApp. Moving on, I have one last question for you, and I think this is very important in terms of branding yourself as a global brand. So I understand that Dr. Vaidya is worldwide. So how do you deal with sending your products from India to, let's say, so many different countries that you have customers in, and does it get complicated, and how do you make it less complicated?
Unfortunately, does, especially in the category that we were in. So we did many countries. We did export orders and contract manufacturing. But when we sold Dr. Vaidya's, we had only tapped into the US. To be honest, Amazon as well was a platform we used. You have to follow the country's regulation, right? So hire people is my view. Hire an expert, hire a consultant to help you because they have their own rules and regulations, and I recommend following them, right? So we took our time. We took our time to understand that, okay, fine, which category do we fall under? We took our time to understand, recreate labels. So actually a product in America and the product in India looks very different because of different label regulations, for example, right? And that's something we learned through the process, right? Eventually, maybe can you kind of look at doing a blanket approval for all? Sure. But every country has their own rules because unfortunately, Ayurveda is not as regularized. So it depends on certain ingredients that are allowed or not allowed. My view is go to experts, right? I'm sure SellerApp, you guys would know a bunch of people who could help sellers out as well, given that you have a lot of Indian brands selling in the US as well. So I think there are many agencies also that help you. Tap into experts. Don't waste your time and effort trying to learn and invent a wheel that someone's already learned, made their mistakes and done. So yes, it takes time, but you also have many advantages, right? The spending power is higher, your margins get higher. There's a huge demand right now. I'm sure you've seen the data on SellerApp, right? For, as you mentioned, OTC wellness products in general. And proudly take Indian products globally. So all our products actually have a line that says proudly Indian. So that even when it sells in the US, we are proud to say they are from India.
So how do you deal with, let's say, inventory part of it? Because you have custom orders, right? So I'm not sure if it's a good idea to keep a part of inventory in US because it can get expensive if the customer doesn't come back for their second purchase. So how do you deal with that problem?
Never did that. We only kept inventory for Amazon.com in the US.
Got it. Okay.
All other custom orders anyway based on PO and prepayments and all of that. So only Amazon.com did we keep, and we honestly initially sent out a small parcel because, as you mentioned, right, the holding costs and etc. are quite expensive. So we sent only a certain number of SKUs, certain quantity to see which sells well, and then you send it. See, the first time you send any shipment, it takes time. That should be a learning. Write out an SOP of what did it take, how long did it take, all of that. So then you know how to plan next time around and send it.
Yeah, I think A/B testing is something that you're supposed to do with all your SKUs to understand which is going to sell well in different countries. So that's super important. So thank you so much for answering that question. So before we end this session, do you have anything else that you would like to tell our viewers right now?
Honestly, building a brand is a lot of stress, but also a lot of fun. Use as many tools, learn from other people's mistakes in the ecosystem. Spend time with SellerApp as well. Honestly, I'm now on the other side of things, right? Investing a little, and I use SellerApp to actually validate some of my thesis or investments as well. So, I think everything doesn't have to be built internally. I would actually say that where your last strong suit, like focus on product quality, all of those things, but where you can for marketing and operations, use outsourced service providers who have much more experience than you will. Go ahead and do it. Is my view.
And especially if you're building a brand which is in a niche category, marketing is the way to go. And of course, move outside of Amazon PPC because there's so many advertising opportunities that lies outside Amazon PPC, and you should definitely look into that as well. And of course, if you always want data, SellerApp is here for you. We pride ourselves in our data because I think our data is one of the best in the market. So of course, if you want to validate your demands as well, we can help you with that. And thank you so much, Trisha, for being here. I think this was such an amazing session. I personally learned so much, and I know now what goes behind the scenes of Dr. Vaidya's. So this was super fun, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Riya. It was a lovely time chatting with you. You're a super host as well. So thank you.
Yeah, and for those of you watching right now, if you like this video, make sure to click that like button and click the bell icon next to the like button because you want to be reminded about every single time we go live or if we post a new video, make sure to click the subscribe button to join our amazing SellerApp community where we help each other grow on Amazon and more. Keep an eye out for Amazon Q4 Mastery 2.0. We are coming back with our next event, which is going to happen in first week of August. Grab your seats. There are limited number of seats, and keep an eye out on all our social media platforms for more information. And until the next time, happy selling.